Ooh.
Oh yeah, I've been having that all day today. I was with Marina. I keep going, oops.
Warm weather. Hi, everybody.
Motorcycles. Yes. Hello,
Yeah, warm
everybody.
weather and the motorcycles come out
Oh my
and
goodness.
the hot rods. This is
Yeah.
Michigan, so lots of old hot rods and whatever. So,
And people having drag races on the main drag, and
yep.
the police don't do anything about it. So at all
Oh,
times of night.
really? Oh, yeah. You can't get away with that in Ann Arbor. No,
Oh, that must
you
be
can do it
nice.
for a
Hey,
second and then you're done because everybody will call the cops in like
hey,
2
everybody,
seconds.
let's move to Ann Arbor. Let's go be Allison's neighbor.
Yeah, Ann Arbor
Sounds
is
good
like
to me.
Mainbury.
Sounds delightful to me right now. So, oh, okay. Now you're gonna come in. You didn't come in for Marina, but you're coming in for Auntie Allison. All righty,
Aw,
coming in for Auntie
pretty.
Allison. There we go. And there's Teresa and there's Dina. So you saying hi to everybody? All righty. Oh, no, you're getting. Oh my God, he's still growing. He's 13, and my God, he's still growing.
Uh,
Well, he's filling out.
yeah, he's gaining weight.
He's muscular. So to me,
Oh,
I call that growing. Because it's
okay.
like before I'd be like, oh, scooping. Now it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
So, hello.
We'll start calling it growing.
Yeah, and I call him Buddha belly. So, everybody, thank you for joining us. We started a few minutes late, but I forgot to send Allison the link until the last minute. It's been a crazy week.
Oh,
And
yeah.
between having our ceiling in our bathroom starting to leak and finding out some interesting things about some of my fellow neighbors that I didn't know. Oh, I digress. This was just a very interesting week to say the least. And I know Allison's been, busy with work and things being changed at work, and her and I are both like, we're ready for summer. For us to be able, well, at least for me, to get out to the parks every day, as much as possible. It was beautiful here. I don't know what your weather was like, Allison, but we had like 65 today.
Yeah,
The
it was nice.
sun was out. It was beautiful. We went to the park for about an hour and a half.
It
I hugged a
wasn't
tree.
that warm, but the sun was out. It's so funny. I just recently made the comment how the sun does not shine here. We've actually managed to have although it was cold most of those days, we've actually managed to have like a few blue sky days since I made that comment, which is pretty remarkable because it's Michigan. We're surrounded by the Great Lakes. We have a lot of cloud coverage here. So everybody gets really excited and happy when the sun shines. It's kind of funny. You can
Kind of
actually
like Seattle.
tell that the mood is lifted because the sun is out. It's hilarious.
So maybe you should start saying that more often. Hey, you know what? It doesn't really get a lot of sun right here. Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay, well, let me take care of that for you.
Yep.
And
exactly.
There goes the motorcycles on my end.
Yep.
So, hello, everybody coming in. We're getting a few minutes. Hello, Ramon. It was so cool. I was doing my show with Marina this afternoon, and Ramon was like, I'm saying hello from 33,000 feet in the air from my airplane. So we were like, hey, So that was pretty cool. I never had someone say it to me before in chat, so that was
right.
fun. And hello, Earl. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Isadora.
Hi, everybody.
And again, Teresa and Dina. He's a big boy. Yeah. He's filling out. He's a Bombay. And after he lost his teeth and we had to start feeding him human baby food for the protein, he's just been bulking up. And he's actually a nice weight now. He's heavy, but he's not obese heavy. So,
so maybe he was underweight before. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he was a little underweight, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's 13, and yeah. So
I don't think that's yeah, that's. I mean, it is on the bigger end, but that's not.
No,
that's not huge.
He's just built muscle.
Not at all. I mean, cats are all different lengths and heights to a degree, right? Standard, domestic cats. Not any of these unique breeds. I'm talking.
Well, he wasn't malnourished, but it wasn't like he was skin and bones or anything. But once he got taken that problem with those teeth, and I had help with a cat rescue in the area, they were like, well, just to kind of, he might have to start eating some. He could go back to hard food, but in the meantime, give him the human baby food. So we started giving that to him. He loved it. Ziva ended up loving it. Now that's like one of their main. They get little extra meals in between during the day for the extra protein from that, and then they have their regular Iams cat food. So, because I couldn't keep affording the prescription diet, it was like $70 a month. I had to keep charging for this food, and I was just like, I can't do it. So I found Iams. They both like it, and that's more affordable. So it helps us out. His teeth probably were, yeah, and it was so nice. When we had to move in here, he had to be officially fixed, and when he went in, they were like, "Well, his teeth need to go," and they did a little fundraiser for me through the pet rescue. They can't do that anymore because somebody didn't like something happened, and now their board of directors for this nonprofit said that we can't help people with that anymore. So I was lucky to be able to get that help from Ozzy, and they took care of him, and now he's just like you know he's just a big boy now. He's all filled out. So, and hello, Fatima. I don't know if I said hello to you coming in. So Allyson and I really didn't have much planned to talk about tonight.
I do have an idea.
Oh, okay. Let's hear it.
We don't have to do it, but something that occurred to me because it was something I was thinking about.
Sure.
Don't have to, but it's just a suggestion, or we could do it another night. But you always come up with something or think of whatever. And I've only thought of something a couple times. So something that I think is an interesting subject, and it's not necessarily, well, I don't know. It might be more of a shadow thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it might not be everybody's cup of tea. Not that I love shadow either, but it is a very real part of life while we're living on Earth. Is talking about things that are pet peeves or things that trigger us.
Yeah. Oh, I can go there.
I could go there too. And there's been a couple things that have happened. Does that qualify as that? I guess it may. Yeah. And this might be kind of therapeutic for some people to, although they're in chat, but I mean, we do still tend to discuss, and you always comment about what people are saying and whatever. But I think it's a worthy subject. I mean, I don't know how deep we can dive into it, but I think we probably all have things that both are pet peeves and then also things that trigger us. And a lot of times, like, what's the difference?
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Well, I think triggers go.
Trigger is more of an emotional, like,
yes, like really, like
yes,
really,
Well, it doesn't have to be so extreme. I mean, I can have things that trigger me, but I have a lot of self-control. I mean, I am passionate, but like some people, especially in the privacy of their own home or whatever, they may really, it depends, right? What triggering means and how you react and how controlled you are. I mean, I just mean like a healthy, normal reaction triggered, but whatever, any type, and or like pet peeves, like things that happen or things that others do or things that you see in the world or whatever it is. And it's something that you're just like, oh, it kind of irks you,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of the same ones when it comes to pet peeves. But anyways, that's what I was thinking. But
that's cool. Why don't you start?
I'll see what we get. Do it another time, whatever.
And this is so funny. Hey, Jay, because Jay and I were talking a little while ago, and if you want to go first, or I can go first about a little bit of a pet peeve of mine.
So you go ahead.
And it has to do actually with our community, and I say this from a most
on YouTube.
Yes.
Or where you live. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, I get it on both ends. Because for the past week and a half, we thought they finally got him out of here for with the door being broken and stuff and whatnot. But we heard his voice today, so he's still here. But okay. I just noticed lately on YouTube that I will read, and I understand that we have chatters that like to get different perspectives from other readers, possibly about questions they may have. But I've just seen a lot of, and I don't go into a lot of live shows anymore, just for a few minutes, just to support my fellow readers if I can, and hit that like button and everything. But I
Yeah.
think, and we're chatters too, so us readers can be chatters too in the chat. And I've been noticing that there's like a trend going on that just kind of, that's it's kind of bordering pet peeve and a little bit of a trigger, and just kind of trying to use a good filter to be able to process how to react. It's just that when a chatter, or a chatter subscriber asks you for a reading, and it's a specific question, and you give, you alone, or you and your guest give, their answer, and they're like, thank you, you're welcome. And then come to find out during the rest of the week or later shows that day, that same question's being asked over and over again in, other shows. For me, that just kind of, I'll just say, kind of rubs me the wrong way. And this is not to make, people feel bad, or not, don't want people not to feel, like safe, or that they could ask a question. It's just, I think we need to kind of remember that, when we keep asking the same questions again over and over, expecting maybe a different answer, to me, it's just, it takes time. I'm trying to figure out how to put this politely without, hurting anybody's feelings. Because I know I've done it a few times. We get into, we want to ask the same question over and over, but it's like, that question, it could be a different question, or that could open the slot for another person, who may have a question. And just for me, seeing that same one asked multiple times, it's kind of like, well, why then did you ask me, and ask me to take my time to pull those cards, to connect with spirit, because that takes energy. That's an energetic reciprocity right there. I'm connecting with you, the subscriber, and I'm, connecting with spirit to get, and my cards, to get you that answer. I'm taking that time. I'm investing my energy and time into doing that. And then to see, later on, and other readers have seen other people running multiple times, in one day, or multiple times during the week, asking the same question. And for me, that's just, that's pet peeve. I don't know if that's more pet peeve or triggering. It's becoming a little bit more of a trigger. I'm kind of like in the middle. Um, so I think I'm just going to, it's not that I am scolding anybody, or I am, again, not wanting people feel that safe in my chats, to be able to ask a question. But it's just that I've seen this trend in a lot of, and so a lot of shows I'll just pop in, because if I'm there after a certain period of time, I can see the same, you know what I mean? And for me, it's just kind of like, well, wasn't my answer enough, or was me and so-so's answer enough? And I can maybe gain another perspective from it, because we all have different abilities. Some people are intuitive. Some have maybe more connection. They're more maybe like a psychic medium, who might be able to delve a little bit deeper. But when you see it just over and over to different people, it's almost kind of like, it feels like it's a waste of, of my time and energy that I'm investing in you to be able to do this reading. So I'm just going to kind of stop it right there. Yeah, Jay, sometimes 3 times in one day can be a little ridiculous. But I'm just opening the floor, because we may have chatters right now who may ask that question, say the same question multiple times, but they might have a different perspective that I don't. So again, I want this to be a safe, space, and for anybody to share their feelings and insights, along with my fellow readers. So I'll just open the floor, up to you now, Allison, to see what, if you want to share, or you can totally change the subject too if you want. But that was just something that I wanted to kind of air out right now.
So I would call that a trigger. So for me, I had a trigger this week at work, and it's funny because it showed up a few different times, but it's really pretty much the same thing. And what it is that, so like in my line of work, probably some of you at least here know I'm a school bus driver. And I really do like my job a lot, and I love my kids, and I like the actual physical driving of the bus, which probably sounds funny, but it really is a lot of fun to drive the bus. And years ago, if you told me I'd be a school bus driver, I'd have been like, I'm going to be a school bus driver. I mean, I worked at a brokerage firm for years, and then I was a personal fitness trainer for like over a decade and whatever. And it's like, now I'm driving a school bus. And, but anyhow, I digress. So I don't spend a lot of time in the office building. You can if you like, because there's a whole chunk of time in the middle of the day. And most people, if you live close enough, people go home. I mean, I certainly do. I'm fortunate enough that I only live a very, very short distance away from our main office building. So anyways, but there are times where you have to go into the building, this, that, and whatever. And I have always been very it's funny, ironically, I'm very I'm very much of an introvert, and I keep to myself in my personal life. But when I'm out in the world, and especially like in my line of work, as a personal fitness trainer, and even at the brokerage firm and that, whatever, I'm very personable, and I've got years and years and years of experience in customer service as a result of those things. And I'm very good at being friendly. It's genuine, showing interest. I'm always polite. I'm always friendly. I greet everybody. Da, 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 da. I do all of those things consistently. And if something's bothering me at work, you would never know it, because I don't let it show. And it's not false. I know how to leave my issues at home. And I can absolutely do that. The thing that happened that was triggering is that there is a common, consistent theme of toxicity within the employees that are there. I would almost say there's like different groups. I'm not part of any group. I mean, although it is, very much a huge group, it's also kind of broken up, sort of. And I couldn't even really tell you in how much so, in what ways, because I just don't spend a ton of time there. Anyways, my long-winded point. And most people have been very, I don't have any issues with anybody or anything like that, because I'm there so little, and I do my job and I do it well, and then I'm on my merry way. Well, I have had, strangely enough, and this is the universe showing me this, I have had two different people in particular have a very, very catty attitude towards me, which I've pretty much ignored for the last year. I don't put any energy into it at all. And I know how to energetically protect myself and all of that kind of stuff. And I had a couple exchanges with both of these people very recently in the last couple of weeks. And then this morning, a couple other people, I had to address someone regarding getting into an office that I believed was locked, but I wasn't sure because I had to put in a request for a PTO. And the person that I spoke to, what they said back to me was perfectly fine, but it was the tone of voice and the look on the face. And it was so energetically just ugly and rude, catty, just, and I know what it is. I always know what it is, usually. And I've dealt with it for my whole adult life. And it's just, you can usually tell who it's going to be. Maybe that's part of my psychic gift, whatever. Like, I can tell before it even happens. Oh, this one. You know what I mean? It is crazy. And anyways, it happened this morning, and I was not having it. Ooh. And I just write back. And I don't usually do that. Mm-hmm. And this morning, for whatever reason, I was just, oh, hell no. No. And yeah. Yep. And it was brief. It was very brief. And I threw some
shade.
I did, but it was this person couldn't even respond. And I was just honed in, zeroed in on exactly what it was. I called it what it was. why this person is that way towards me and what it is in them that's lacking. And turned around and walked and just up to.
Yep.
And I was just like, because I just want, and yeah, I kind of, laugh and saying that, but at the same time, it just bugs the hell out of me that even, it's so ridiculous. I am always genuine, friendly, kind, this, that, whatever. And it triggers me to have somebody act that way towards me. And it bothered me that it bothered me later. Like within 10 minutes, I'm out of my bus and I'm like, God, I shouldn't even have, I wish I
felt like you had to stand up for yourself somehow. I mean,
I always stand up for myself, but I don't have to, very, very, see, that's the whole thing. Nobody really ever says anything ever. It's an energy or you'll suspect or, whatever. And, but anyways, that's triggering because I know what I project and it's not fair. Now, if I was mean or bitchy or never spoke to anybody or was rude or condescending or, those kinds of things, it would be warranted, but not when I'm helpful, friendly, say hello to everybody. If you need, additional help with your route or whatever, I'm the first one on the radio. I mean, there's all kinds, it's not, so that was triggering for me. And then, there's, like I said, initially there's, 2 individuals where it's kind of been an ongoing thing, but I rarely see these people. And that's how it is at this work. There are so many employees. And we're all doing our own stuff. I mean, you could go literally months and not run into somebody that you want to run into.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Or don't. It just, whatever. So, but there's this one driver and it is a woman. And I know what it's about. Has nothing to do with me. But I push this person's insecurity buttons all over the place. And I actually put out energy on it a couple months ago. And I was like, if this happens again, because it's unwarranted, if this happens again, I'm going to take care of it. And with my
she's smiling.
With my I can take care of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I really don't want to, and I never do that kind of thing. But I've kind of almost, I guess, in a way, been like, well, if the opportunity ever arises, and because this person is just like trying to just to be nasty, and it's like, come on, we're in our 50s.
This isn't high school, people.
What is wrong with you? Get some therapy, it's just so, so she did something recently and I know it was her and whatever. And it's like, so I'm going to fix her little red wagon. And, I am.
And the caboose.
And I'm waiting for the new moon. And, and so she won't be able to, she's not going to do anything again. So no, I'll just energetically take care of it. I'll extinguish it. And I know that I can. And so, but anyways, to the triggering thing, that was very triggering for me today. And I realized, I'm like, wow, and, it's just upsetting that people are like that and that they do stuff like that, whether it's warranted or not, And then, but that's like the big triggering thing, I guess I would say. And then something else, and I'll go ahead and throw this one in there and I'll be a little bit quicker about it. This has happened at work a couple times, and then it happened today, actually, when I had an extra, we'll call it a route added to my route. It's only going to happen a couple days a week. I pick up one child, because I'm a special needs driver. And couple of teachers assistants had to come out because when I got there to pull in, there were cones put out for some reason in the main circle driveway, and so I had to call my office so that they could call the school to have them come out and move it, because I'm not allowed to get off the bus, right? You have to stay on the vehicle, and there's all these rules and red tape and everything else. And these two people came out of the building, and they were walking incredibly slow. And I could tell they were talking to each other. It was a guy and a girl. And they were looking at me and making comments. And then the girl turned around and walked in the building and like threw her hand up like she wasn't going to deal with us or whatever. And then he came over, didn't even make contact with me, eye contact with me, didn't greet me, didn't anything. Like, what is going on? I slid the window after he was done. I said, hello. Because he just turned and walked away. And I said, I'm not allowed, just so you know, I'm not allowed to get off the bus, and I'm not allowed to move those cones out of the way. And he didn't even say anything. He just kept walking. It was discriminatory. Aggressive. I'm just going to put it that way. It was discrimination. I'm not going to get into details of what. And I have had that happen several times in the last year and a half or so, which I've never had it happen in my life. And it's really wild. And I don't understand it. And I don't know. And so that's triggering, but I understand how it's reversed the other way, where there's discrimination and people are treated a certain way. I'm not even going to get into it. I'm just saying discrimination that happens, and you may know, you know what I mean? And it's just, that was wild. And that really upset me, because it's like, what, it's like, I mean, the whole thing was just so it's been really intense. There's been a couple of really weird things thrown in. But that kind of thing happens in the work environment as well to other people that I hear about it happening. I haven't thankfully been involved in that, but it's just interesting. And I don't think either one of these things are unique. I'm sure a lot of people have dealt with both of these things in different ways, or at least at some point, or some exchange. But the first one has happened many times throughout my life. It's just kind of ongoing, and it's just unfortunate. But the thing that happened today, it was brief, don't get me wrong, but it was very hurtful. But I took it as like just a wake up of what other people deal with all the time. Like, I had done nothing. I just drove, but I could feel the energy of what was going on. I read the body language between the two of them, and then there was no eye contact at all from either one of them. Like, they didn't even want to acknowledge me. And it was just like, wow. And it was very aggressive without any words spoken. Like, it's a trip. So that's triggering. But again, like I said, for that, I just saw, and why it needed to show up today, I have no idea. But I just saw, I'm like, wow, that I was just profiled, and a lot of people are profiled all the time. And I'm in a demographic where I don't get profiled typically, right? You and I, right? So, of course, it depends on what you're being discriminated against for. I mean, it can be a lot of different things, right? It can be your sex. It can be your sexual orientation. It can be your race. It can be your
religious.
It can be your financial status. It can be a lot of different things. But anyways, that happened today. That was really interesting, and it did not feel good. And I felt bad, because I was like, oh my God, because I'm very inclusive. I mean, yes, I'm an introvert and I keep to myself, but I'm very inclusive. I don't judge people on any of those things that I just listed. I really don't. So yeah. So those are mine. And then we could talk about pet peeves, which are very, very different. But it's really just stuff that gets you. I guess.
Well, I've got some comments to share with you while you were talking. Miss Taro D has joined us, and she says it happens to me all the time.
Yeah. Yep.
Isadora says, "You go, girl." But this is what really was cracking me up. Fatima Shawwoman is, "Get ready, ladies. Road trip to go get some ass. Put the Vaseline on your face and get a razor." And then Jay says, "Miss D, Aries girl can drive the bus and pick everyone up." Or pick up everyone. So that's funny. But and Kristen said too, "I recently stood up for myself to someone and I ended up feeling like crap about it because she turned it around and painted me as the bad person for it, and that's called gaslighting too."
It is. And so I don't know why you felt bad. Do not get gaslit. Don't allow it. You recognize what happened. So let it go. Don't own that.
And Isadora also says, "When people say whatever," she goes, "sounds so ignorant and uncouth." So they're just sharing some of their things in chat as well that, just gets to them. Says, and so they're kind of like commenting from what I was discussing about, reads and stuff. And just Chris and them sharing, I appreciate the validation from some of my readers in here. But yeah, I mean, it's something that it's not like it's going to, it doesn't affect me like Allyson being dismissed like that. I mean, just being yourself and being who you are and just being nice and having someone do that is just very dismissive. It's like you're insignificant to them. And I don't like people being treated like that. People shouldn't be. And I know we all sometimes have bad days. But yeah, Kristen, childish crap, and she used the word
And
I
it
haven't
doesn't
heard.
matter the age.
Small-minded
That's
peons.
the thing that blew my mind. It's like, wow, it doesn't, the age makes no damn difference.
Mm-hmm.
Makes no difference. And I'm going to turn
Dina,
some lights on.
and Dina says, "It'll be a different kind of bus." Allison's going to
It was just so funny too, like that whole thing this morning. Don't get me wrong, you guys. I said like it was seconds, and the whole thing just that was it. And she finally said something, and I'm all the way down the hallway, and it was nothing, and I just kept on going. But it wasn't bad what I said or anything, but I really I named it for exactly what it was, and I'm sure she was very embarrassed because I'm sure I know a couple of people probably heard it if they were paying attention. I wasn't loud or anything. But yeah, I mean, I called a spade a spade. I'm gonna turn the lights on. Hold on 1 second.
And Dina, when you said bus, all I could hear was the theme from the A-Team with them driving on a bus. Dun, 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 dun. So the A-Team, who's going to be, Mr. T? I can see Miss Tarot D being Miss. Miss Tarot D. She's going to be Miss, what is it? Oh, Mr. T. Sorry, y'all. It's been a long day, but yeah. It's not nice, and sometimes you have to kind of laugh and brush it off, or like Tay Tay says, just shake it off. People are going to hate. People are going to talk. You just got to shake it off. And Karen said, "My mom drove the school bus. She had all kinds of crazy things happen. A parent threatened to beat her up once. Oh, good Lord. But it's both ways. Things that we hear happen up here, you can obviously tell it's the parents out of line, and then there have been instances up here where it's totally the driver's out of line. It's just people just need to remember that these kids have to come first, and we as adults set an example for these kids to see these things going on. And so, well, I do have the jewelry to be Miss T. Yes, you do. After you walked out saying when the bus, all I could hear was the A-Team. All of us getting on the bus and we could be the A-Team, and
that's
and drive with Allyson. And then some Miss Tarot D could be Miss Tarot T with her, her jewelry.
Yes.
I pity the fool. I can see her with her claws. Honey,
I never watched that show, but I do know what you're talking about. Wasn't that more of a boy show?
I
I
don't know,
shouldn't
but
say that.
I
That's
watched some
nothing
of it.
is correct anymore. You're not allowed to like say
Well,
anything, but
back
you
in
know
the
what I
day, it
mean.
kind of was, but growing up, I didn't really distinguish between, you know, I played with my Barbies. I wanted my Barbies, but when my brother brought out his Hot Wheels and
No,
his
I was
friends and
the
stuff,
same way. I just
I wanted to play with all of it. Yeah.
yeah, well, I did too. I mean, well, yeah, I can tell you what I did. I certainly I didn't even do the whole doll thing. But what I mean is it just didn't appeal to me. It was too actually maybe that it wasn't even it. I know I probably at least tried it and just didn't like it and didn't watch it. Like I know there was like a short list of
It's
programs that I watched, and
lovely
that was
show.
about. I didn't watch a lot of television. I know it probably sounds kind of weird. I mean, I did watch TV. Like I don't watch any
Hmm.
TV now, but I did watch TV as a kid. But I don't know. I think I was way more selective than my friends were.
Yeah. I was a turnkey kid, so I had to keep myself, when I got home to entertain. So I'd watch, the TV shows. Oh, my favorite were the reruns for Lost in Space.
Yeah, I
Danger,
watched Lost in
Danger.
Space.
Well,
Yeah,
Fantasy Island. Before I was just like, I used to be enthralled with Fantasy Island. I'm like, look, fantasies, and he's magic, and he's an angel, and. So, and then I was so sad when they brought it back, and I really liked the new one of Fantasy Island they did, and it was Rourke's I believe granddaughter who took over for him, and I thought they did a great job on the show. But of course, after 2 seasons, it was canceled. But I really enjoyed, even as a child, not really figuring out there was magic, So
yeah. And you
the
know what?
Love
I
Boat.
think I was
Go ahead.
when I was watching it because we always watched that too. My sister and I would watch Love Boat, and then Fantasy Island came on after it, which I don't know if that's how it was at your where you lived, or if you even watched Love Boat. We watched Love Boat, and then we would watch Fantasy Island, but I was always too tired to watch Fantasy Island, so I didn't watch it. I mean, I would, but I also didn't really grasp like what you were saying. Yeah, and there was magic, or the island was magic, right? Like things.
Mm-hmm.
It was a fan of things happened on Fantasy Island. Should probably go back and watch a little bit of that again because I don't really remember it. I mean,
I
we
wonder
did
when.
watch it. We watched it, but I think I probably missed it a lot. Was it on Saturday night or something? Or
Yes, it was a
Friday night?
Saturday night. My dad would
Okay.
watch his Hee Haw, and then afterwards I would watch
Hee-haw!
Emergency. Emergency. I loved Emergency. And then there was the Love Boat, and then after the Love Boat came Fantasy Island. And halfway through the night, I'd be going like this, trying to stay awake to watch,
Yeah, I couldn't
the
watch
rest of
it.
the
My
yeah
grandparents always watched Hee Haw.
Dynasty.
We'd watch it, but it would be on over there, so I'd watch it when I was over there.
And now when I see some of those, I'm like, oh my God, it was
That is
so wrong.
hilarious.
Oh,
And
I
I
couldn't
loved
make it.
Green Acres. That was like after school there was like Green Acres. What the hell else was on? I didn't watch a lot, but Green Acres was on and I liked that. And then sometimes what was with Mayberry?
Um, I don't
It's
know.
black and white. Somebody in chat's gonna
Yeah,
know.
it was yeah, you can hear the whistling. Do
The
do do.
cop.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't think of it. And Shan's out in the hall in
Well,
the
no, there
living
was a
room.
cop.
Yeah, it was Andy
Andy Griffith Show.
yeah, the and yes, there
So
we
that
go.
was on, and the Adams Family was on, and it kind of
Yeah.
changed by the day. And
Scooby Doo was my favorite too,
I of
even as
course
an
love the
adult.
Munsters and the Adams Family. Duh.
Yeah.
Bewitched was on.
I
I always
used
want to
to
say, I don't know. And then my sister most nights would watch, or was it actually? I don't remember. What
Gilligan's
was it?
Island, yes. Oh, and the one with the army, Hot Lips Houlihan. What was that
Oh,
one?
MASH. My dad
MASH.
always watched MASH.
And I used to
I
when I was
love
learning flute, I
MASH.
had to play the MASH theme, and my dad
MASH
used to
is
love hearing me play
awesome.
it.
MASH is a
Yes,
great show. God, I'm so sorry.
it was
Two
great.
seconds.
But yeah, this there we go. How the conversation. It's just I love how it morphs. Um, but yeah, for me, like I said, I was in '80s. We had HBO, so HBO would have their videos that they would play for half an hour. And I remember the one I loved to watch the most had I'm Still Standing by Elton John, and Vacation by the Go-Go's was in there. Always had to watch that one. And I remember Stand Back by Stevie Nicks was included in that as well. And then in high school there was this Canadian show called Video Hits or something, and that's where I got to see my first like Depeche Mode and everything and whatnot. So, you hated MASH. Oh, that was some of that was really funny though. Some of the jokes, but yeah, it depends on the type of humor. There's a lot of stuff like Mayberry and whatnot. I remember watching and laughing a little bit, but oh, Full House. Ooh, now when I know about some of those people in that were at the show. Oh, speaking of Full House, here, let's have her spill a little bit of tea. The guy who was, it's not Danny. It was the guy with the dirty blonde hair, not John Stamos or Bob Saget, but the other guy. Remember the song by Alanis Morissette, You Ought to Know? That song was written about him. I didn't learn that until I was like later on in my 30s when she was able to start talking about who the song was about. But yeah, the Full House. I can't remember what his name was, but yeah, the other guy in the house. That was who Alanis wrote about in You Ought to Know. So a little bit of trivia there with the. And let's see, there was a show, Man from Atlantis. Oh my God, seeing Patrick Duffy in those yellow shorts all wet. Wow.
Oh, the man from
Puppy love.
Atlantis. I kind of remember that.
I would probably remember if I saw that, but yeah, Days of Our Lives. Um,
Oh, I never watched soap operas, but my sister,
I
who is
did.
4.5 years older, does everybody remember when General Hospital was a big deal?
I remember Rick Springfield was on there, and
Yes, and
a
before that
couple
it
of
was
them.
Luke and Laura.
Yeah, they still talk about Luke and Laura. It's like that couple, like Romeo and Juliet. People,
Kind
Mulder,
of.
Mulder and Scully. Laura and
Mulder and
Julia.
Scully.
I mean, well, when you talk about couples on TV that stand the test of time, people
Yeah.
still talk about Mulder and Scully, their charisma together on camera. You got Luke and Laura, then you've got Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz. They go down too as famous couple from TV. So yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Brady. Come to find out, Mr. Brady didn't like really Mrs. Brady.
That's
I,
true.
oh
And
my
Lucy
God.
and Ricky was abusive.
Yes. Well, I hate to say it, but nah, I won't. But back then, a lot of men got away with that. Especially Italian. At least from my understanding, my family. I
He's
mean, there's abuse
Spanish.
no
He's
matter
from
where you're
Cuba.
from. But
Yeah, he's Cuban.
he was Cuban. Twin Peaks. I never got into that. I never watched it. I
Yeah,
was
and like middle school, I wasn't watching TV.
yeah, Dave Coulier. If that's
My
the
knowledge
one
drops
with the
off
blonde
dramatically.
hair, that's the guy who Alanis was singing about in her You Ought to Know song. Someone mentioned Full House, and I was saying that the one guy in Full
I
House,
didn't know that.
not Saget or Stamos, but the other guy, that was who she wrote You Ought to Know about. Um, but for me, the '90s, the only TV shows I watched in the '90s, and it just kind of like I was a fan of the Cosby Show. Every who knew what kind of a person Bill Cosby was. That was one of my favorite shows to watch. Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Um, you know, but I didn't get into like the Dawson's Creek or the 90210. I did get into Friends for a while. But for me, the X Files was my show the whole '90s until it ended. That was my show. I loved that show. That and Charmed. Those were my shows. I wasn't into Buffy. I
I've
really wasn't
never
into Angel.
seen Charmed. Never.
Mm,
Not
wow.
one episode.
Yeah. So, oh, and speaking of Charmed, I couldn't figure out why Rose McGowan put that video out on Instagram today. Still telling women to stand strong and be in their power. Apparently, Harvey Weinstein had his verdict overturned yesterday or today.
What?
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't read it because I knew I would get really angry But somehow, what happens when you get money and you have influence? He got his verdict overturned. So all those women who came out and went against him and shared their stories about what happened, including Rose McGowan and some like Gwyneth Paltrow and some of these others, he was convicted, but for some reason they overturned his verdict today or yesterday. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't follow anything, so I didn't know.
So yeah, that's why I try not to watch a lot of TV because I get angry at shit that I just don't seem to have any control over. And hello, Michelle Marie. Hello to you, Jonathan and Rosie, your little fur baby. Charmed was awesome. You know, it was until Shannon left. I'm sorry, but I will always be, for Prue. If I had to pick somebody to lead that show, I would have kicked out Alyssa Milano. I would have loved to have seen the show with Piper, Prue, and Phoebe. That would have been to me totally cool. But again, the powers that be, Alyssa got to stay on the show. But for me, the first three, seasons of Charm were my favorite. And Michael Weatherly was on that show too. That's how he started getting on television. He was on Charmed, so that was pretty cool. Hello, Sheila. Hello, hello. Good to see you, my dear. New York, you know, I'm just really disappointed. But again, I have no control over that. Grey's Anatomy. I never got into Grey's Anatomy. I watched a little bit of ER. I remember that show. Oh, House was an interesting show that I watched. Isn't it interesting how we went from our pet peeves and our triggers to TV shows? I'm sorry, Allison. We kind of got off your
Oh, it's
subject.
okay. I was just noticing a little moth just flew by. It's officially spring here, by the
Yeah.
way.
All the little fly bugs are coming up through
Oh,
our,
it's
our
by my
plumbing.
fan. I'll get it later. I feel bad. I'll try to get it and take it outside, but I don't know. Sometimes moths get kind of jacked up when you try to catch them.
Okay, so they overturned in New York, but he's still for California. All right.
Oh, so he's still in prison. Okay.
Yeah, but not for New York. Oh. The judge allowed the other women to testify against him that wasn't part of the trial. Oh. Mm. House gave you anxiety. I just found Hugh Laurie was an amazing actor. I really it's like House was somebody that you love to hate. It was just a really good actor. I enjoyed that show and had some great music. Oh, another show, Bones. Did you ever watch Bones with David Boreanaz and
I'm being honest when I say I really have not watched television in the last 20 years.
that was a
Very,
show
very,
that I
very
like to
little.
watch too. And Cyndi Lauper
30 years.
had a guest appearance on it too. She played a psychic named Avalon. That was cool. But yeah, Deschanel, the two Deschanel sisters, but I can't think of the one that played Temperance. But anyway, um, Love Bones, Rizzoli and Isles. Yes. Oh my God, Dina. They were on actually for about 3 or 4 seasons. But yeah, Isles was the one that was initially on NCIS. She was killed off, I think, in the first or second season before they brought in Cote. And Allison's probably like, I have no idea what you're talking about. All righty. Did anyone watch Lost Girl? I don't know what that is. I don't have cable, so I don't watch Netflix or anything. The one show that I did love to watch on that was on Fox, and then Fox canceled it, and then Netflix picked it up, and was Lucifer, and it was not like the way you would think it was. It was funny, but yet it was a different take and perspective on Lucy. He ended up helping a detective, solve crimes and stuff. And what it was, Emily Deschanel. Okay, so for me, for Shannon and I, we've got all seasons of Tom Ellis did a great job playing Lucy. That lasted a good what I think 7 seasons. So when it was over, it was time for it to be over. But that was a really cool interpretation of looking at because the devil was tired of being in hell and being blamed for everybody doing wrong stuff. He was tired of being the one blamed, being scapegoated for, everyone's bad behavior.
Oh,
So
that's
he's like,
hilarious.
you know what? That's it. Enough. I'm coming up. And he wanted to be on Earth, and he was, doing his drugs and his sex and stuff, and living his, his. But then he met the detective, and
Who
and
played this character?
Tom Ellis played his nickname was Lucy, in the show. His brother, he and his brothers, his sisters, I mean, it was really funny, but there were parts of these shows where you just wanted to cry. Especially, when this priest got killed. And of course, in the beginning, even he learned a lesson because this guy was a priest. He was like, oh, you're going after boys, you're doing this and doing that. But turns out that he wasn't. He was also a musician, just like Lucy. They both loved, rock and roll and blues. And when he tried to protect this young boy, sorry guys, spoiler alert, the priest, went in front of, the guy, he got shot, and he got so angry, he was like, why did you do that? Why did you do that? And when he was done, he went out and just had this, there was just this commentary up to this, look at this guy saying, are you happy? This man dedicated his life to you, and this is how you basically thank him. you know you it's yeah, it was, I'm even getting goosebumps. So there was a lot of things that they covered and addressed on the show that was really made you think. Some of it was silly, yes, but some of it was really good. So that's a show that Shannon and I bought all seasons. We have all seasons on, aside from the X Files, but we got to get the extended X Files now too. But did you want to go back? Oh, hi, Tom. Not Tom, Jeff. I'm sorry, Jeff. I was thinking, I saw you, and I was thinking about Tom maybe joining us tomorrow night, maybe for a conversation. But you can tell Heather's maybe had a little too much caffeine. But I get really excited in talking about stuff that I like, especially when it comes to music and things, because I don't really do movies. And to be quite honest, now that I know a lot about what goes on in Hollywood with what they do, the actors, what they participate in, and what goes on with
I
children
think
and stuff.
Hollywood's going to get canceled.
I'm just like, I'm just totally sick. And Shan's like, oh, don't just ignore the actors and just enjoy the movie for what it is. And sometimes I can't, because all I see is what I know now, And oh yeah, with Pete Diddy and all of them.
Don't even.
Oh,
That's my suggestion and request. Don't even.
okay. Zip.
No.
We're not talking about that, but like Allison said, Hollywood is now under more scrutiny now. It should be. So moving along. I like caffeine and chocolate. Me too, Jeff. So yeah, I hope so, Jay. I really hope all the cockroaches get scattered and run out in the light, and I'll get stomped.
You know what's interesting that I will say though is there's a think of actors that you never hear anything about. The ones, and they're out there. There are quite a few when you really think about it, that do their thing and then you don't see any news about them. You never hear about them because they just go and then they live their life. They don't even live in California. They don't even live in SoCal. They don't even, you know what I mean? And they keep it very quiet, and their job is their job, and that's it. So yeah. Separate but yet connected. As much as I haven't watched television, I did see some movies over the years, of course, but and just to my shadow side, I did see all of and this would be HBO, I think. I did see all of Breaking Bad. I saw all of Game of Thrones, and I saw all of Sons of Anarchy, and I loved all three of those. Loved them.
Never saw any of them.
They were fabulous. You didn't see Breaking Bad?
That kind of stuff doesn't.
Breaking Bad is so well done. I mean, is it spiritual? No, it's absolutely not spiritual. But anybody, I have not yet talked to anybody that watched it. Of course, I guess you wouldn't watch it all if you didn't like it. That didn't think it was just amazing. Very, 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 very well written. and the acting is really, 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 really good, especially the main character. But Sons of Anarchy was very dark. My ex-partner was watching it, and I was very much like, "Oh my God, this is so gross." Blah, blah. Then I
That's how I
like
felt.
kind of over his shoulder, like saw some, because I'm in the kitchen doing dishes and kind of half listening, and then came in and sat down with my dish towel and just kind of sitting there listening and then asking questions. And next thing you know, I'm watching it. And
Move
I watched
over,
it all,
let
and
me
it was
sit
actually
down.
really good. I mean, yes, it's dark, and there was some stuff where I had to get up and leave the room because, yeah, there's some bad stuff that goes on. But it was just I really liked the characters, several of them, and then what was the other one that I said? Oh, and Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is awesome. I don't know what else to say. Game of Thrones was absolutely awesome. Loved it.
I never saw it.
Loved it.
Shan wants to see it.
So good.
I know what
so
happens
good.
at the end, and it breaks my heart. So I'm like, oh.
You could watch the whole thing like 2-3 times because so much happens that you wouldn't get it all. And I'm sorry, what did you just say?
No, I heard what happened at the end of the season finale, and I was going to watch it because I really liked that girl, the blonde girl with the being the dragon and stuff. But then when I found out what happened at the end, it's just like, oh, I don't really want to get invested with the character, and then have them.
It's a movie.
But I get invested.
Or a story, I should say. It's a story. Yeah. Okay, well,
sometimes
it's really good. It's really good.
That's what I hear.
I know what you're saying, but I don't. But again, everybody's different. Yeah, I mean, a lot of movies have crappy endings or series or whatever. Or
and I'm like, oh my God.
Breaking Bad, the way Breaking Bad ends, it's like, oh my God. I mean, the way it ends, it cannot continue. It can't. Yeah. It can't. It can't continue. Well, they did do a spinoff thing with one of the characters, but the main character, sorry, spoiler. I mean, I think probably everybody knows, the main character dies in the end. So, it's over.
And Jay said, real people, yes, Aries girl. I love those celebrities. They stay quiet and separate. They don't get involved with the dark, underbelly, basically. And Michelle says, as a side, Allyson, your bedroom furniture is gorgeous. Love your quilt.
Thank you. Can't really see it. The door's open, but it is very pretty. Thank you. I love it. I've got my grandparents' bed, which you can't see. The bed is gorgeous. It's out of the shot here, and the dresser's back there, the chest of drawers, and there was a vanity that I ended up leaving behind. I didn't take the vanity because I wouldn't have used it, and I just was being real about it, and it went its own direction. So, but it was my grandparents' wedding bed and chest, and then I got everything, and it's all antique. So, but thank you.
Well, Miss Taro D, we've been talking about TV shows. Allyson was saying how much she loves Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, and Sons of Anarchy, and talking about Hollywood, being exposed. And she's probably going, wait a minute, where's Scout?
Yeah.
I don't think Scout's with Allyson tonight, Miss Taro D, but yeah.
No, he's he's in the other room. My man's not here tonight, and the dogs are both sacked out on the couch. We went for a walk.
Yes. So Jeff says, oh my God, Allyson, you and my uncle would get along. All he watches these channels would consider low vibrational. Did you watch Fringe? I love that show. And Joshua Jackson, also Haven. On the sci-fi. We loved Haven. I just felt bad that Jake, my Jake.
My Jake.
My favorite character of the whole show. Oh, yeah. If that's the one that you're talking about, Jeff, Haven, that took place in Maine. It was on the Sci-Fi channels based on Stephen King. Yeah, I think it was based on Stephen King. So yeah, that was a great show. Oh my God, Allyson, me too. We should do a TV and ice cream night and liquor.
Me too. What, Miss Taro D?
I think watching TV.
Talking about Breaking Bad?
Something like that. Yeah, we should do TV and ice cream night and liquor.
Or she just means in general. Or Sons was so good, and it is dark. It is, but it was just good. Sorry, I'm not sorry. It was good.
Sorry, not sorry.
It was good. Yep, it really was. I wanted to judge it and be all, it was good.
All the shows that you mentioned, yes. Too funny. So,
I also saw Weeds. Weeds was pretty good. That was another series. I think it was on HBO. And I watched all this stuff with my ex-partner. But other than that, like I really haven't seen anything. I mean, literally sit down, watch the episode, and I'm done. That's it. It's like because I'm constantly I don't sit down a lot. But SOA, what does it say?
Sons of Anarchy had the best ending of any show I've ever seen.
Sons of Anarchy, the ending was, yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, it was tragic and sad, but it was like, damn, like I didn't see all of that coming. And I think that's what you mean, Miss Taro D. I loved the characters on Sons of Anarchy. The characters were just awesome.
And I can't believe I forgot about this, but Will and Grace. I loved watching Will and Grace. That would make me laugh.
And Miss Taro, oh yeah, I never saw that either. Miss Taro D, Opie, I had a big crush on Opie. And I was really bummed when they killed him off.
Okay. But I know there was a couple good looking guys on the show, but to me, I just
I mean the main character, he's pretty cute. He's not really my thing. He's blonde and which is fine. I'm just not really into blonde guys. But yes, he's definitely eye candy for sure. But no, he's a great actor. And God, I can't believe I don't know her name. One of the main characters, his mother on this show, her character name was Gemma. She was freaking amazing. The mom from Married with Children, Peg, she played the mom on Sons of Anarchy completely. I mean, she's a very good actress. Like she was on very there, and you just kind of be like, oh, really? Yeah. Yep. She was excellent.
There was a show too called Numbers that we enjoyed watching, and of course we can't forget Northern Exposure is one of our favorite shows. We got a couple of the seasons, and every now and then we pop them in and we watch Northern Exposure. That was a great show as well. But Numbers had the guy who played the doctor from Northern Exposure. I can't think of his name because when I get excited, then I can't think straight and I can't remember names. But the one that played the doctor on Northern Exposure ended up playing an FBI agent, and he got buff and muscular. He was really and then of course you had Peter Nickel in the show, and that was on I think for about 3 or 4 seasons. That was a good show because the brother had the mind of a scientist where he can do analytics and he could apply mathematical algorithms. That's the word, algorithms to cases because his brother was an FBI agent and Judd Hirsch was the father. And so it was a great cast. And there was also another show that the guy from Will and Grace, not Jack, but Will, from the guy who played Will, did a show briefly on TNT where he was a professor, but he also had like schizophrenia, had some mental health. And so he would see things, but it would also help his friend kind of solve mysteries too. So for me, I liked unique, different things like that for TV and watching shows. Rob Morrow, thank you, Jeff. Thank you. But yeah, it had that was a gregreat cast. So yeah, there have been a few shows here and there that I know I'm going to probably be like, oh, I forgot about that one, because I don't really like a lot of like dark, violent stuff. But yet, this is coming from the X-Files girl. But for me, a lot of times the X-Files was about the character connection between, Mulder and Scully. I really like how Chris wrote it, how they played off of each other. I just really like the chemistry and some of the stories. Sometimes if it got a little too gory, I'd be like, okay, Heather's not looking.
You know what's so funny is, ironically, because I'm hearing you say that and I'm ready to be like, and I'm like, yeah, me too. And then I'm thinking about it. It's like Sons of Anarchy is about a biker gang, for those of you that don't know. So there's a lot of here and there, it's not every episode and whatever, but there's a lot of rough content that does happen, right? They're a biker gang. And then Breaking Bad is it's about a guy that he creates it's about a scientist who, there's a story as to why it ends up happening, but he ends up creating a top of the line methamphetamine so that he can sell it to make money for his family, because he's dying and his family's not going to have any money after he's gone. And then that takes on a whole life of its own. And so that's what that's about. And there is some violence that ends up occurring. Definitely some violence on a few of the episodes. And then what was the other one? Oh, and then Game of Thrones. I mean, it's, you know, it is, but it's so, you know, it's sword fighting and, you know, that kind of thing.
See, now I like Lord of the Rings, and people say it's not that far off from Lord of the Rings, but so at one point I might start watching
it's
it.
nothing like Lord of the Rings,
It's
and
not, okay.
in my opinion, and I didn't like Lord of the Rings. So there you go. Yeah, hate me. I didn't like Lord of the Rings. I tried. I watched it. I've seen them all.
Well, different, yeah.
And I've seen them all probably twice, I guess. And I'm like, you know, it just didn't grab me.
And there were some things I had to look away
characters.
from them too.
I loved the scenery. I loved like all of the scenery. Right? But like the storyline just kept going and going and going. It was so long. It's like, can't we shorten this up? Like chop an hour off, just kind of like bring it all together. And yeah, it just wasn't
Lord of the Rings didn't have dragons, but The Hobbit did.
Oh, and friggin' Game of Thrones. Girl's got dragons. Like like for real dragons. And she like rides them. It's really cool. It's really cool. And they did such an amazing job. I mean, obviously it's not real, duh, but it's so real. It's very, 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 the dragons are very cool.
And Miss Terrell D says she's not a Lord of the Fans person either, but the makeup and the costumes were incredible, what they were able to do. And and the banter between Gimli and oh, I can't remember his name, Legolas, when they were, you know, that counted as one, you know, they were always battling each other. How many orcs could they kill and stuff. For me, I love that. I enjoyed it because it was a little lightness, you know, in between some of the darker and heavy stuff. But for me, I had a poster for a while of Aragorn on my wall. So what can I say? What about Pirates? What did you think about Pirates? Pirates of the Caribbean series. I think that's an incredible character that Johnny Depp
the first
developed.
One. Not in the theater. I liked it just because I think Johnny Depp is, you know, come on. Well, old Johnny Depp or young Johnny Depp, I should see.
I mean, he was amazing as Jack Sparrow. How he created that character.
Oh, you know, he's a creative genius. Disney really screwed up with that one big time. You know, I have nothing but love for Johnny Depp.
Yeah, and he still gets dressed up as Jack to go to hospitals for kids.
Yeah, I love Johnny Depp. I think he's, you know, and he's not perfect, but like he didn't, you know, we all know he didn't.
Yeah,
he was totally screwed, but. You know, who knows? I mean, none of us are perfect, you know, maybe karmically, I don't know, but I'm all good with Johnny Depp.
Now, Game of Thrones, Jason's ass. Jason who? Was Jason Momoa in that show?
Momoa?
Oh, Jason Momoa was in it. Okay.
Or Momoa, what is it? Isn't it Momoa?
No, Momoa.
What is it?
Jason Momoa.
Momoa. Yeah, he's friggin'.
So he showed his butt. Speaking of, you know who just recently almost showed everything on his video was Lenny Kravitz. Just released a video last year.
Honestly, oh my god, and you're meant right because there is because they both were married to what's her name.
Yeah.
It's hilarious because to me, like Lenny Kravitz is friggin' gorgeous. I've always had to think, even though he's like little pint size, which I'm not into little guys, But
I don't know. From this video he recently released, it didn't look like it would be very. I mean, the way they directed the video, that way back in the day when everyone was like, "Oh my God, he showed his butt for a couple seconds." This video is everything except a couple shots where it
hold
was
on,
just.
what are you talking about?
Lenny Kravitz did a
Yeah,
video
Lenny
recently.
Kravitz is like 5'7", is what I'm saying. He's tiny.
Oh, that tiny. Oh, I thought you meant.
Yes. No, his body's amazing. He's always had an
Yeah,
amazing body, but he's like a
in
little
this video.
tiny. I don't know.
Yeah,
You got to be like at least 1.5 feet taller than me. Um, but
there you go.
Jason, oh yeah, he's
Aquaman
that.
was good.
He might just be the most beautiful specimen that there is, honestly, in my opinion.
Ooh, there we go. There's the competition now. Okay, ladies, the hottest man.
Jason, even though I screwed up his last name, but no, he's friggin', he's by my definition,
Yeah, he's
that's
not
about as
bad.
good as it gets.
Yeah, he's easy on the ice, and now he's doing those silly T-Mobile commercials. Oh my
Oh,
God.
is he?
Oh, he goes,
Like I said, I don't
"What a
even see TV.
feeling," and they're doing like the flash dance.
He is just gorgeous. Oh my God.
Yeah. Now Henry Cavill, I don't know if I know who that is, so because I don't watch most TV these days, so I don't know who that is.
And she's right though. You do get yeah, you totally get to see pretty much his whole body.
Ooh,
not
okay.
all at once, unfortunately, but
Ryan Reynolds cracks me up. Yeah. And then Ange says Jason Momoa is delicious.
Oh my God, girl, yeah, all day long.
Now for me, who I always thought was good looking was Hayden Christensen, and he's the one that played Anakin Skywalker for the Star Wars movies, for bringing Vader into existence, and he had to really buff up and stuff for the last movie. And to me, those dark eyes, that kind of dark hair, oh my God, he does it for me, Hayden Christensen. So yeah. Superman, for me, it was Dean Cain back in the day when they did Lois and Clark. Now that he did the TV movie miniseries movie he played Scott Peterson. It was kind of like, oh, I was having a hard time looking at Dean Cain now and playing Scott Peterson. But yeah, I think some of our tastes are going to be very different. Except we can agree on Jason Momoa. He's easy on the ice.
Oh man,
most definitely.
And he's huge.
And
yes,
I used to love.
He just stand there and do nothing. Just breathe.
All you have to do is just breathe. You would kick him out of the bed for crackers. Let me tell you.
You don't even have to say anything.
That's terrible. He's like, yes,
yes, please. Yes.
Oh my God! Now, if I have dreams about weird, okay, yeah, I'll know where
he's
it came
just
from.
he. Oh yeah, he's everything.
He goes, Miss Terity says, I wouldn't mind doing all the work.
I wouldn't either.
Oh no, don't let Hector hear you say that.
I wouldn't mind one bit. Nope.
But yeah, we all have our different tastes. And when I was a little girl, it was all Ralph Macchio. I was in love with the Karate Kid. Well, every ounce in my wall was all covered with his pictures. There was Sean Cassidy, Ralph Macchio, then Michael J. Fox, and then, Def Leppard came along. I was all about Def Leppard. And, then, oh my God, Mark Slaughter, when he looks rough these days. Oh my God. But back in, when Slaughter became popular, oh man, I almost got arrested for sneaking back into a hotel with a couple of friends trying to get to see him and a couple of the other band members. That would not go well with my parents.
Right. I can't really think of any famous people I really was.
Cyril, he says, oh my God, I just had a hot flash. You and me both. Look at it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I did think a couple guys were cute, but there was nobody that I really like, even, I don't know. I know that there had to have been. I just can't. The fact that I can't remember tells me that there wasn't really anybody that was that.
You know who was nice looking too was he used to be in Firefly, Nathan Fillion, when he did Castle. He wasn't bad looking either. I liked the TV program Castle. That was good. It was sad when they canceled it, but I enjoyed that show as well. Was Castle. Just sitting here trying to think of, but Sean Cassidy, oh my God, back in the day. Jeez. Remember Leif Garrett?
Yeah. I mean, and I was aware of all those boys, but I didn't like, I don't know.
Yeah. Me, I was all about Madonna and Aha and, Michael Jackson. Oh
Actually,
my
you know
God,
who I
Michael
thought was
Jackson.
really cute?
Hmm.
Was, and he was gay, was George Michael.
See, I never had, was like,
He's so pretty, but I thought he was really cute.
Yeah. Miss Taro D. I was talking. Of course, then, I had a crush on the Backstreet Boys, a couple of them. I will not deny. I am not ashamed. I still love listening to their music. Def Leppard, I loved Rick Allen. People would make fun of me. Oh, he's got one arm. Ew, you like him? I'm like, yeah, so what if he's got one arm? He was a handsome young man back then, So yeah, my tastes have changed over the years. Kenny Rogers, Ange. Oh my God, my dad loved Kenny Rogers. And Allyson, again, Kenny Rogers. Remember Tuesday? Tuesday was my dad's anniversary for passing away. And then Rain started singing out of the blue Kenny Rogers. And I felt like my dad was there, letting me know he was okay. And then Ange, you just brought up Kenny Rogers again. So yes, Dad, I know you're here. Love you. Miss you. But
I wish Kenny Rogers had just aged gracefully.
I know he did.
Because he looks crazy now.
Well, he's been gone for a while now, so.
Well, I should say, right. Yes, yeah.
Today is Carol Burnett's 91st birthday. Wow.
Aww.
Yes. But yeah, Kenny Rogers, my dad, when he was younger, when he was healthier and he, trimmed his beard and wore his cowboy hat, he did look like Kenny Rogers. He had people comment. And one of his favorite songs that he would have with my mom when, despite, the marriage not being so great, was Lady. So every time I hear Kenny Rogers sing Lady, I tear up. I think of my parents, but it's good tears, most of the time. So yeah. Oh, Six Pack was my dad and I used to love watching that Kenny Rogers movie, Six Pack. If people don't know what that's about, go check it out. It was a cute movie. Yeah, and everyone's starting to sing Kenny Rogers. But we are at almost 9:30, and I know Allyson, you like to not go over like an hour and a half on Fridays now. So was there anything else that I know we kind of went off the tangent of,
oh, it's fine.
Peeves and but yeah, you got off your chest, with your thing today, and me kind of mine with what I've been seeing recently on YouTube. And for me, a lot of my triggers here is just being in this apartment and trying to deal with when I hear certain people or I hear certain things or I smell certain things. I really need to use my coping skills and just, try to get grounded, try to breathe, just be like, try to block it out. But this place is a major trigger for me. So I know all about, working with triggers. So, but no, that was a great topic of conversation for tonight. And then we got into the movies and the songs and the TVs and quoting Jerry Lewis. Oh, so yeah, my dad loved Jerry Lewis too. Used to watch the Jerry Lewis telethon.
I remember Jerry Lewis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. Was he? Did he have a? Did he have a show? Was it the Jerry Lewis show or something?
That, and he would do every year the telethon to raise money for the kids. I believe it with MS and stuff.
I'm just saying, yeah. I know who that is, and I can see his persona.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm at my grandparents' house when I'm watching it. But I just know he was funny. And didn't he do different voices and characters and stuff?
Yeah. He was a comedian. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Lewis and Martin. Yeah, he used to be with Dean Martin. If that's the right Martin, I'm thinking of Dina. But,
yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I was at my grandparents.
The Rat Pack.
I would see that.
Yep.
And they always watched what was that, All in the Family?
Oh,
you talk about politically incorrect.
My dad, okay, Dad, I love you, but my dad was on that spectrum of I would hear the jokes and the not so
But
nice ones, but my dad
that was
loved
the
him.
time.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. We have grown and changed, hopefully. A lot of us have,
Okay.
anyways. And that was a huge show, and a lot of people watched it.
Maud.
And now you would watch it and you just be like, oh, all of those shows, I don't care what show it is. That one's probably one of the most obvious ones. Even Maud. You go back and
Mhm.
watch those shows, there's all kinds of stuff in there that you could never say and do now.
Yeah. All in the Family, one of the best shows ever. Yeah, you
It
look
was
back at
very
those old
good. I agree,
shows.
Miss Parody. It was very good.
Good
Um,
Times and
Good Times. We watched Good Times. We watched The Jeffersons.
Jeffersons.
I forgot.
The one
And
with
these were
Valerie
shows that my
Bertinelli.
grandparents were watching.
Yeah, and the one with Valerie Bertinelli. I can't think of the name of the show.
Eight is
It had
enough.
Mackenzie Phillips. It had, oh, eight is enough. Eight is enough. But there was one with Valerie Bertinelli and Mackenzie Phillips. Oh, and remember Alice? Kiss Margaret.
Yes, I liked
I know.
Alice. Yes,
Kiss
I do remember
Margaret.
that show. Was that
Yes.
a nighttime show?
I think so because of Flo having to say "kiss my grits" and all that kind of. It was more
Like
like
it was
about
like a, to
yeah,
like whatever. Yeah,
yeah. So,
that was a
that's
good
really
show.
yeah.
Oh,
Talk
and then
about going back.
Roseanne.
There was Roseanne. I was on the fence with Roseanne, but yeah.
I thought Roseanne was funny. I mean, she turned out to be but the show at the time, I liked it. I did. And that was right around the time I probably stopped watching television because I think I was just going into middle school. How old were you when that show was on? Middle school, right? Heather and I are the same
Well,
age.
I was held back 1 year because of my birth date, and then I was held back one
Oh,
year for second grade. So I'm thinking
well, how old
Roseanne
were
was
you? I mean,
around 84. Wasn't it 84, 85 Roseanne came
that
out?
sounds about right. Yep.
I was 13 in 84 because my birthday's more at the end of the year. So I would have been around 13 or 14.
Yep, that sounds about right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
George Clooney came from Roseanne. Yes, he did. And he also came from, does
That's
anybody
true.
else remember the other show? The Facts of Life. George Clooney was on The Facts of Life too. That was one of his
Was
starting.
he a teacher?
He was either a teacher or he was somebody connected with the grounds for the girls' school, something like that. But yeah, he was on the show.
I forgot about The Facts of Life. That was good. I watched that a little
Nancy
bit.
McKeon. Yeah, I used to have my hair cut couple times like Nancy McKeon with the feathers and stuff. We all remember the feathered look ladies from the 80s.
I had beautiful feathered hair. Mm-hmm. Yep.
It was hard for me to stay feathered because it would curl and kink and do all that stuff. But yeah, when I could do
it was a whole thing. The hair, and I always had the comb in my pocket.
Yes, the comb, and then for me it was the Jordache little purses that would go over. It had the little, yeah.
My Jordache jeans.
Yeah, he was the handyman. Thank you, Isadora.
Oh yes. Yep. As soon as you said that, I'm like, yep. Then I remember. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then Family Ties. I got into Michael J. Fox when I saw Back to the Future, so I had to start watching Family Ties. It's kind of sad to see how his life progressed, but he's still fighting. He's still doing his thing. So, got to give him kudos for that.
He has done very, very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when they later had the shop. Yeah. Well, it's going back a little bit too far for me to actually remember, but yeah, the 84, 85 when, like the Breakfast Club came out and Pretty in Pink and all that. So I never was into 16 Candles though.
The Breakfast Club. I did see the Breakfast Club, and I managed to see that several times. That was really
I have it on DVD.
Really good movie. DVD.
I watch it every now and then. Yeah. I could relate to Ali Sheedy's character, and I could relate to Anthony Michaels Hall because of being, bullied and stuff. So
I could relate to all of them. I think
especially
most of us
Pretty in
could.
Pink. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great music, 80s. Oh,
great soundtrack.
They got a new Lost Boys out. I don't know, Miss Tara. Shan loves the original Lost Boys, but a little too kind of bloody for me. But it's a good soundtrack. We got the soundtrack to it. That's one of the things I love about the 80s too. They had some great soundtracks and music. So it's kind of hard. And there was that movie that came out too in the 90s called The Craft, where it was supposed to be these witches. They were levitating each other.
I
And then
never saw The Craft either.
one started going cuckoo from the magic. It was actually kind of, I liked in a way that they showed that what happens is if you use magic for the wrong purposes, what happens to you. And she got really effed up in the movie. But the music soundtrack, was really good. Had Jewel on it. It has Matthew Sweet on it. I think it's got Beck, Our Lady Peace on it. So there's some really good songs on that soundtrack too. Um, Patrick Swayze should never be replaced. Oh, because they redid the Roadhouse. Yeah, with Jake Gyllenhaal, I think it is.
That is somebody I could never understand that people found attractive.
What's that?
Swayze.
Really? Dirty Dancing? No.
No.
Ghost? No. Okay.
No.
The Outsiders? That was my movie.
No.
That's where
I do not find Patrick Swayze attractive at all.
Hey, we all got our different.
How about you, Miss Tarot D? Because we seem to have a similar attraction scale. I'm curious what she has to say about that.
Isadora said Kevin Bacon went to a high school to celebrate Footloose anniversary. Yeah, he does fun stuff like that. Again, too, Kevin Bacon doesn't mind, that's what got him, his fame and stardom. And he still does, dance sequences from the movie from when he was younger. And he'll sometimes surprise proms and dances and stuff. And
I loved his personality. He never did it for me, but I loved Kevin Bacon just because I just thought he was adorable.
And him and Keira Sedgwick is still married. They do these videos where they dance to music and they do their little dances together. It's adorable. They really are. Let's see. The Book of Spells is really the actress's real book. I'm not sure what the Book of Spells is. It sounds familiar. I think the African-American actress in The Craft is a real witch. Oh, okay.
Cool.
Let's see. Talking about Michelle, I read The Lost Boys in 5th grade. Miss Tarot D. I grew up in a polygamist Mormon Catholic little town, and it opened my eyes. Wow. I did not know that. I'm not into Kevin. I like a little more coffee in my milk.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
Yeah. No, you know what? And that's
yes, Miss Tarot D.
Actually, yeah, that probably is what it is, Miss Tarot D. I'd never really thought about it like that. And like I said, but I did say earlier, yeah, yep. Actually, yeah, I'm just going to say yes, agreed. Yep.
So
there have been exceptions along the way because if there's a connection or the person or whatever, but I mean, as far as general chemistry attraction, yeah, agreed. Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Yep.
I know my dad had a fit when I wanted to put Michael Jackson up on my wall. When Thriller came out, my mom was like, knock it off, leave her alone. Because,
you're all in the family loving dad?
Dad, yeah. He wasn't crazy about his daughter having
not all in the family. What was it?
Remember the one with Red Fox? It was the one with the junkyard. Sanford and
Son. Sanford and Son was awesome. I can't believe I forgot to mention that. I love Sanford and Son.
Dina, I love you. Sandra Bullock. So, my favorite movie besides Miss Congeniality was Fun. I love Miss Congeniality. You know what movie I absolutely loved that Sandra Bullock did? Keanu Reeves was with her in this movie.
Sandra Bullock is cute.
The Lake House. If anyone has not seen The Lake House, that is an incredible movie, and it has a bit of a paranormal twist to it. So if no one's ever
seen... Is that the one where her husband dies?
Not her husband.
Her partner, whatever, and she keeps like having...
Is
that the one? He dies.
Yeah, it's with Keanu Reeves. Yeah, but they weren't married yet.
But he dies.
Well, no, you might be thinking about Premonition with her and the guy that was in Charmed that played the demon.
Oh, and a bunch of weird shit kept happening.
Yeah, she kept having premonitions, and she
And she
kept
was
trying to
acting all
save him.
crazy and nobody believed her or something.
Yeah, but this is a
Okay.
different movie. This is with
Okay.
Keanu
But
Reeves.
that was her, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves, The Lake House.
I don't know if I saw Lake House. Oh, with Keanu Reeves. I like Keanu Reeves. Now,
Girl.
Keanu Reeves
Okay.
is cute.
Yes. And
He's
we
also
agree on
gay.
somebody. Yes. Huh?
All these hot guys that are, but hey, whatever. You're not going to meet him anyway.
I thought
Yeah.
he was
Keanu,
bi, but that's
Keanu.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah, I
Keanu.
actually think he is. But he's
The
yeah,
Lake House was a great movie. It
he's
really,
definitely
really
cute.
was. Yeah, and I first saw it, and I'm sitting there crying. You have to see it to know what it means, but just a little brief. So Keanu Reeves buys there's this lake house that his dad had designed. His dad was a home designer, and so Sandra Bullock moves into this house, this lake house, and then she kept finding she would put something in the mail, but then her mailbox thing would go off. She goes, "Wait a minute, what's this?" And she would pull it out, and she would notice that somebody was writing her from that same address, but there was a 2-year difference. So that's all I'm going to
Oh,
say.
there's
It's
like a portal thing happening or
kind of
something.
like a little time slip, and she communicates with Keanu Reeves through this mailbox at this location of this lake house. It's
Oh,
really cool. So, and yes, Beetlejuice is coming back. Michael Keaton is an incredible actor, and I can't really watch a lot of the first one anymore because I just kind of overwatched it, I think, and just kind of got sick of it. But we saw a preview.
you
And right,
overwatched.
well, you know how sometimes you watch something, then it's to the point where you're just like, oh, I don't want to
No,
watch that anymore. Turns me
but
off.
okay, right?
Well,
No,
for
and I'm sure
me,
people do that. No, I get it.
but there's a new, and Michael Keaton's coming back as Beetlejuice. Winona Ryder's going to be in it, and that should be
What?
interesting. Yeah, after all these years, he's coming back. The juice is going to be the juice is loose.
That is hilarious.
So okay, 9:35. Let's see, what's this? Oh, Practical Magic. Yes, there was just one thing about Practical Magic I did not like, and that was the two aunts being, practicing. They were good witches. But they were willing to take money from somebody to kill a bird, a helpless bird, for a spell for a woman to make somebody love her. And I really wish they hadn't put that in the movie, or at least when the woman came to ask the aunts to do that,
It
for them
wasn't
to turn
real.
and I know, but the point is that people are still gonna think that, this is what we do, or what they do. And I just wish this was an opportunity to learn to say, no, this is, harming another. We are not going to do this, we can't help you, and kind of put that in the movie, because nothing else really came out of that scene in the rest of the movie. So for me, it was an opportunity for, some, you know, um, truth to be shared, some, because most movies with witches
Bad
and stuff.
witches will kill birds. Good
I
witches
I
won't.
know. That's what I'm saying. And the
Right,
ants,
but
they were good, but they
well,
still
but they
went
clearly
through.
weren't because they went ahead and killed a bird. So yeah, but no, I get what you're saying.
So, but that was an opportunity to educate properly, and
Everybody knows that movies are bullshit, though. It's not real. It's
what?
not true. Well, if
Oh,
you have any intelligence, anyways, there's people out there that do
oh
believe
my
everything they see.
oh my God. We're talking about witchy stuff, and my Black Kitty came in.
Speaking of witches,
What? What did she just say? Huh? Did you hear? Huh? Did you hear? Did you sense? So let's see. I haven't seen it,
so
Miss Tarot
beautiful.
D. What vibes did you get from it? Oh yeah, there's a horror movie coming out called Tarot. And they're using the tarot as, I think, a demonic tool or something
Oh,
for the
shut
horror
up.
movie.
Really?
Yeah. I haven't seen the previews, but I saw when we went to go
That
see the
kind of
Ghostbusters.
thing causes problems.
Yeah.
That.
So yeah, it's a horror movie, and there's like a demonic hand or demon hand turning over a tarot card. I'm like, oh boy, just that's great. But that's Hollywood for you.
Right. And there's been so many things that have been exploited. Like like everything, like hauntings and ghosts and psychics and like everything. And then you have people that are three-dimensional, or they're just not at all evolved or aware of what's out in the world, and then they see it and then they just have this, and I don't mean this, well, maybe I do mean it kind of nasty. People that believe stuff like that, it's just,
Yeah, it's a tool. It depends on who's using it and what they're using it for. I mean, um I know Jay in chat, she has done some investigating, and she has the ability to see some stuff. And there are times when people just don't realize, when they play around with things and not knowing what they're doing, or going into places to investigate or to hunt, they're not properly protected. And that's when shit happens. And we've had that conversation with the bookers. So again, with this movie, I'm just hoping that most people will realize that's not what tarot cards really are all about. Let's see, what is the world coming to? First, men in dresses reading books to children, and now tarot. Oh my God, we are all going to heck for sure. No, we're not Miss Tarot D, but Hollywood's been dead for years, and they are desperate for viewers. So yeah, just kind of like, when you go see some videos and you see all this clickbait stuff, like the fear, this is happening, this is what you should know, clicking on. And it's getting to the point where that's another whole conversation all in itself, the clickbait, in a lot of YouTube videos. um Ow, okay, you're digging mommy's legs with your claws. Say bye bye, everybody. Alrighty, down you go. Oh, good lord, that cat. So, um, yeah. Michelle says, I spent way too many years in the broom closet because of religious dogma and movies like that. I wish Hollywood took our craft more seriously. Yeah, and
you
you know,
know sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I can only speak for myself. I don't care what anybody thinks. I really don't care. um when the opportunity arises, and if it makes sense or whatever, t- to elaborate on those kinds of subjects, I do. My pentagram, I always have it on, I never take it off. People see it, some people notice, some people don't notice, some people comment, some people don't comment. Not that this is a big deal, but it's like, this is always here, you can always see it, and it means something different to you
Mm-hmm.
know so many different people, and people have different opinions on it and what it is, and you can only speak to what it is to you or whatever. I wear for protection, and it's just, and I've always liked pentagrams, even as a child, stars, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
as a child. And I can go into my whole spiel about what I think of it, and this, that, whatever. And also, a lot of people assume you're Wiccan automatically. I'm not Wiccan.
Or they automatically assume you're a witch or this, or so it's
Yeah,
kind of like,
and it's fine. And people can assume
or
whatever
you're a
they
devil
want. Some
worshiper
people
like I did.
assume you're pagan, or they assume you're a witch, or they assume you're this. I really don't care what people assume. I know what I am.
Yeah.
And I don't really have a title, but yet I'll take one if I have to. But and I'm not even going to go into it for that reason. It's like, it doesn't matter. You do what you want to do, and people walk around with a cross on. I don't ask about, oh, what is, and it's like, I could give a shit less what you do and what you believe in. I really don't care. And I really don't. But I think that it's unfair. I would never comment to somebody that I barely know about something that they had on. I just think it's rude.
Mm-hmm.
And it's none of your business. That I love that saying, what you think of me is none of my business.
Yeah.
I love that. And then I heard one, actually, it was on your live the other day, I think, Heather, and somebody in your chat said something, and it was it Roosevelt's
It was
wife?
it was I no, I think we were talking Sheridan. It
And
was
what was
Nancy.
it?
It was it I think Monday with Nancy and with Dolly, we were talking, somebody named Sheridan was asking us about pagan and Catholic, and Dolly was starting to explain about the paganism to Sheridan, and then she was like, well, I don't feel comfortable with this, I'm going to leave chat now. And we're like, that's okay, we want you to feel safe, and and we respect your decision and we thank you for sharing that. And, hope to see you on another show. So I don't know if that's the one that you're referring to,
I
but
have no idea what you're talking about right now. No,
oh, okay.
I
So that
was
wasn't
talking
it.
about the comment of Roosevelt's wife. And
Oh,
there's some saying that and somebody said it on one of your shows very recently,
I think it
and it was
was, yeah.
something along those lines, but I can't remember what it was now. And it basically, it means the same thing. It's like, what you think of me is none of my business,
Yeah.
which I love that. And it's so true. It's like, and I think that that's awesome. And everybody can just do
Okay.
and believe in whatever that they want to.
And Dina says, repeat after me. What others think of me is none of my damn business.
Yeah, it's just not. And a lot of people,
Freedom of
I
speech.
really truly believe that. And a
Mhm.
lot of people don't. They're so worried about what other people, and that's why I was saying, like we were talking about the triggers at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
I don't really care so much about, like I said, I just do me and I'm just me and I'm friendly and I'm this and I'm that. But if you say something nasty to me, that's different. Like if you feel the way you feel or you this or that, great, whatever. But don't voice it at me. Don't be nasty to me. Don't throw your crap at me.
Yeah.
They're two different things, right?
Yep. Like
People
Madonna
can
said.
think and energetically whatever all that they want, and everybody just needs to mind their own damn business, honestly.
Like Madonna said, I'm not your bitch. Don't put your shit on me. And I was like, yeah, okay. So just like she said that. So, um, and yeah, Michelle was saying, I pray we can keep our freedom of speech. A lot of what the ways things are going on in the world, and just have to keep putting that energy out there that, despite people who do try to book burn and try to ban what people say and stuff, that it will still not get to that point that we will continue to a degree have our freedom of speech. And Isadora said, care about what someone else thinks about you, and you will always be their prisoner. Lao Tzu. Yep. So there we got some Tao right there. So thanks for sharing that, Isadora. Well, we are at 9:46. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about, or did you want to wrap up?
I'm fine. I mean, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I can't think of anything else I wanted to say.
And Dina says, I'm good until someone makes their business my business and I defend myself.
So do I.
Yep.
So do I. And I don't go looking for problems, and I will avoid a conflict at all costs, but you come at me and I never walk away. It's not going to happen.
Yep. Like I had to have that confrontation. It wasn't a confrontation, but I was forced, the universe forced me to have a face to face with that property manager here. And I wanted to rage. I wanted to get angry. I wanted to curse at her. And instead, I just talked to her, approached her on a heartfelt level, saying, listen, why is this going on? Why is this happening? Why is this person still here? Did you see what's going on over here? Did you see what's going? And I came to her a from a heart to heart, more kind of like, instead of getting angry, I was just like, we don't feel safe. I was trying to, and she, I could tell that she felt bad, but she's like, a lot of this stuff, she goes, is out of my hands. There's nothing really I can do, which I kind of think is about, as BS as well. But I found that I was able to relieve some of that and get what I wanted to say out to her and get my point across without me raging on her and calling her, see you next Tuesday and all those other kinds of words. I just came from just like automatically a heart place and just kind of like appealing to her, to her compassion, any empathy that she had. I'm like, look at the floors, look at this, how come this person, no, she's got like 9 different locations. They expect her to be the manager of 9 locations, and this just one building alone itself has 30 units in it, so imagine 9 locations. And there's some things that, she tried telling me that there's nothing that, that she can do about, but I know a lot of it has to do with the company doesn't want to spend the money. And so, no cameras, no, this, no that. And she tries to rely on us coming forward and saying, and reporting on people, report on what you see, report on what you know. And we shouldn't have to, you know. Um, But at least I had that opportunity that day. I made that choice. Either, what would it accomplish me raging, and cussing and stuff? It wouldn't solve anything. It would make her, more defensive against me. It would maybe make bad energy for Shan and I. And so instead, I just tried to deal from a human point of view and a heart to heart. And, I thought, you know, she might have gotten, defensive herself, but she didn't. She brought herself down to that level too. And so, at least, even though I'm still not happy with the responses and the way things are being run here, at least we both, her and I, had that conversation, and we both were able to keep it at a calm level, a respectful level, and there's a particular understanding. And she respected the feelings that I was having. They said that this building isn't wired or isn't cable, except, I'm like, I want to say, how's that possible? We all have internet here. A lot of us all have, Wi-Fi and the company. So that I didn't want to buy, but I didn't want to argue that point with her because there would have been no use. But we have a glass, that door is still not fixed yet. That glass is still busted. And he's still here. And so, the saga continues, but, again, the triggers, hearing what I hear, the doors, it's like trying to find those coping skills that get you through this. And for me, that's my friends. That's me being able to talk and send nice pictures with Allyson during the day, talking with Nancy during the day, having my shows with Jackie and Rain. This brings me my peace. This is part of my coping, and this is a part of my grounding. And I appreciate everyone's support, through all of this. And sometimes, the raging just isn't the answer, because the raging isn't going to really sometimes get you anywhere, you know, even though I really
Not in
wanted
a
to.
situation like that, no.
So it would have just made matters worse. Um, but yeah, boundaries are beautiful sometimes, and I hate confrontation. I tried avoiding it, and it was like the universe telling me no, because I've been avoiding going and seeing her and talking to her. But when I reported the door, who came up to the door after the call? Not one of the office, but her. And I'm like, I'm looking up, going, oh universe, you're going to make me do this, aren't you? you know. And I did what I had to do, and so at least some of that is now released, and she knows. And the good thing is, though, she said, if there's any way that we find a place that's senior and assisted living, we are allowed to legally break our lease. She says, so she goes, I understand, how upset you are, and I understand how you feel. And she goes, so if you and Shan find something like that, she goes, you can legally, break your lease. So um, right now, yeah, the triggers, a lot of it's in this place, but again, your triggers are how you handle them, and your skills that you have for coping with them, and you know the people in your inner circle. So it's still talking about confrontation and bullying. Yep, I still would like to confront. I would still like to confront that guy in this building, and I still very well may. Shan doesn't want me to, but I may for myself have to do it. And I may very well have to do it for maybe the same place that I did with the woman at the management. I don't know. We'll see how, that goes. But I've never liked confrontation. Growing up, I wasn't allowed to, that's a whole other can of worms for a different night. So, but Dina, I was a tomboy and very extroverted. I'm more of an introvert now. Same here. I like keeping to myself. I don't like going out that all that much. So 9:52. Anything else, Allyson, or do you want to say goodbye to everybody?
I'm good.
All right, because it's getting a little late. Allison's work today, and I've been up and down since 6 or 7 in the morning. So thank you, everybody, for hanging out and chat. Allyson, I always appreciate the participation and the fun that we had with our discussions. It was great talk with TV shows and bringing up memories and things. So you have Monday coming up. Do you plan on doing any videos this week for the signs?
I'll probably do one this weekend. Yes.
Very cool.
Absolutely. And then Mondays, I think caffeinated unfiltered.
Filter this week. Yep.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, everybody, thank you again. Yes, see everyone all over the weekend on different shows. And enjoy your weekend. Be safe. And we'll see you next time. Good night, everyone. Thank you again. Bye-bye.